Hey guys, I've got a few games I've got to file away, so I'm going to do that while you watch the intro. Right, I'm filming quite late at night today because I've taken an entire day off due to the fact that I've been quite ill. I got up this morning and noticed that I've got a bruise on my shoulder and bruises right the way around one of my legs. And that has been to me an indication that there's something wrong. I'm not very well. Now, anyone who's got lupus or an associated autoimmune disease will recognise the telltale sign of the thumbnail-sized bruise. It's an indicator that there's a flare-up coming or happening right then. So drop what you're doing, cancel your plans because you need to rest to get better. So that's what I've done today. And it took me years to recognise that this was an okay thing to do because, let's face it, I'm a workaholic. I don't like to not be doing things. And when I'm doing something, I want it to be something to do with work. I want to be creating something. I want to be making things that are going to last longer than I am. That's basically my thing. I'm not going to have children. My legacy is what I create. And that's always been my motivating factor. So I have a tendency to not want to stop, which causes a lot of problems. If you're ill, you need to take time and rest. So one thing I had to learn, and it's been very, very hard to learn, is that it's okay to be ill. And it's okay to take breaks because you're ill. And the way that I work this out is I see the human body like a battery, but not like a usual telephone battery where the worst thing that can happen if you have a low battery is that, oh, that Pokemon that you really, really wanted, well, now you can't have it because you've got no energy left. What actually happens if you have no energy as a person is you get very ill and potentially die. And I don't like either of those ideas. I don't want either of those to happen to me. So I have to take breaks and recharge the batteries. And that's what I've been doing today. So let's take a look at the idea of a human body. You've got here a standard person, and if you're well and healthy, you can energize yourself right up to the top of your head. You've got 100% energy. Now the average person, if they get a bit ill, they're not going to have 100% energy. Of course you're not. So you lose a little bit. You end up with, let's say, to the bottom of your head. That's how much energy you can fill right up to. That's still a pretty good amount. You're not going to be anywhere near injuring yourself just by being ill. You're just a bit off, and if you rest up, you'll get better. But if you've got a chronic illness, then the likelihood is you're going to have worse levels of energy than that. You're going to get to what I call likely ill energy levels, where you're nowhere near full. And that's what you've got to work with. So you've got to be very, very careful to not deplete that because it's very easily done. And if you don't have a chronic illness and you've never known anyone who does have a chronic illness, look at it this way. Imagine the worst case of flu that you've ever had. That's the energy level you have when you're ill. And that happens a lot to people with chronic illness. So it's really not great. So if you look at this graph, you've probably got a reasonable amount of energy. Yep, that's pretty good. But you've got to remember that if you deplete your energy a little bit, and you will deplete it quite quickly, you end up getting to the point where you've got to be very, very careful about potentially injuring yourself due to being ill and low on energy. And if you go too far past injuring yourself a little bit, you get into the level of flare-up. Now, flare-up is where your immune system goes, there's a really major level of damage here. We need to start attacking whatever's causing this problem. And unfortunately, what's causing the problem is you. So your autoimmune system will start attacking you, attacking healthy cells and unhealthy cells and making you worse. Don't get to the point of flare-up. It's really bad. Now, where am I on this? Well, I am just at the point at which you start getting damage. And that's not a good place to be. So I thought the best thing I could do today is take the day off and make sure I don't get down to flare-up level. Because I've got things to do the rest of the week. I don't want to be in flare-up. And like I said, it took me a long time to work out that that was all right to do. That was acceptable. Because I always push myself thinking, if I don't get the comics done, then who'll do the comics? And then I'll lose my comics viewing audience. And the fact is that, yeah, you probably will lose a few for a while. And then they'll remember that they liked your comic and they'll come back. I've now got to the point where, see those red marks on my hands? I'm getting hurt by just sitting around and doing something. The skin is getting attacked by the immune system. It's very, very annoying. So if I end up scratching, that's what it is. So we've got these energy levels here, and how do they get depleted? Well, let's say you've got a bit of work to do. You've got light work, but you're doing it while you're ill. Well, that'll take a small chunk. But what if you're overworked? What if you've got a huge amount of work to do? Well, that's going to take a huge amount. So, blub, 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 blub. You've gone down already. It's not good for you. Don't do it. And if you're stressed and overworked, like I have been, it's very easy to accidentally go just below the point where you start getting hurt. And that's what's happened. I've had so much work to do, and I've got myself so stressed over problems and casework and overwork that I've gone past the point where I could start getting hurt. And that's what happened, which is not good. So if you take anything from this, there are 2 things you should take. 1, remember not to get yourself overworked. Schedule your work in a way that you can handle it. And if you can't handle it and there's too much going on, decide whether you need to do it all. Sometimes you can find, actually, I could just put that off until whenever date. Could be far in the future, could be next week. Who knows? But you can put some of it off. Learn to prioritize so that you don't end up overworked and overstressed, and ask for help if you need to. Never be afraid to ask for help. It's not right to be overworked. You get hurt. And secondly, remember you can take breaks. If you're at work, take holidays if you need to. If you have a chance, just take an evening off and just don't do anything. Just sit and watch TV or sit and play a computer game, something like that. Take time for yourself. Always make sure that you don't get yourself hurt due to work. Don't do what I did, essentially. So yeah, and then you'll find that actually your batteries start to recharge. And then you can get back to what you were doing. Anyway, it's a very short blog today, and I hope that's made some sense, because I am tired, I am not well, so editing this is going to be a bit of a task for me, but we'll get through it. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you liked this, and if you did, remember to like it and share it with your friends so that they know a bit of advice about overwork too. And do subscribe for future videos, because I do these daily now. But anyway, until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching the vlog, and I'll see you later.